I'm like, I'll get in the middle and be double stuff, so I might include that. I hope so. I like that sort of that. I like it raw. There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You are doing the Lord's work. Never change. Thank you. Great river. Very lucky. Thank you. Thank you. We're doing a $15 double board bomb pot, 9-handed, and we're in middle position and dealt the 9-5, 5-3, suited in clubs to our 9. The flops come down 9-4-2, rainbow, and ace 10-7. We flopped a wrap straight draw on the top board, but that's really about it, and fortunately, it's checked around. The turn comes the 3 of hearts and the 10 of hearts. When it checks to us, we have key blockers on the top board to the nuts, and we decide to take a bluff, betting the pot of $120. Before I can even get my chips out, the guy to my immediate left announces pot again, re-raising it to $480.
Check.
Pot.
120.
Pot.
What is it?
You pot it?
Yeah.
We bet 120.
480.
We get
480.
repotted.
480. That's a little tall.
Instantly, the first hand in my stream is going to. The first hand your stream is got action.
400.
Are you out of here?
Yeah, man.
Have a good night, man.
See you next time, bro.
Have a good night, sweetie. Thank you. 480.
Good fold. Good fold.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Not trip tens.
Our opponent shows he not only turned the nuts on the top board, but he picked up 3 10s on the bottom board. Luckily, we were bluffing, so it was easy to get away from this one. Under the gun has raised to $10, and we're under the gun +1, and we call holding ace-9, 8-5, double suited in spades and diamonds. Middle position calls, the big blind calls, and we wind up going 4 ways to a flop, which falls 9-7-7, rainbow. It's checked around, and the turn comes the 6 of clubs. When it checks to us, we've turned the straight, and our hand isn't going to improve beyond that. So if we're going to bet, the time should be now, and we put 30 out. Only the original pre-flop raiser calls. It's unlikely this board has hit him all that strongly, since we block a lot of the cards that connect with this board. When he calls on the turn, I'm thinking he's either got an overpair he's hoping is good, or he picked up a club flush draw. When the river falls the king of clubs, we aren't feeling great about it, and even less so when he leads $45 into us. I just don't think we're ever going to be good here, so we lay our straight down. There's 2 limpers, and then the hijack makes it $25. We look down at 8-7-6-5 suited in clubs to our 7 and the small blind. We make the call, and we wind up going 4 ways to a flop. Hold my wine, bitches! The flop comes down amazing, falling 6-5-5 with 2 spades. We flop the second nut full house, and with only 1 combo of 6s available now, it's most likely we have the effect of nuts. Still, if our opponent has pocket aces or kings in their hand, this flop will look decent for them to continue firing, as usually paired boards like this with low pairs are pretty good when you have a high pair in your hand. One of the limpers bets 50, and when it folds to us, we check raise to 225. Slow playing in PLO can allow your opponents to catch up and get you in trouble, and if he has an overpair, we don't want to let him hit it for free, even if it was only 2 outs. If he has a 5 in his hand, we definitely don't want him to make a bigger full house without paying to get there. He winds up laying it down, and we'll take this one down. The $10 straddle is on. We're in middle position holding ace-ace, 8-5 suited in clubs to our ace. There's 2 callers, and we make the call as well, which lures in the hijack, cutoff, and button. Both blinds fold. The straddle checks their option, and we're going 7 ways to a flop. The flop comes down ace-10-2 with 2 spades. When it's checked to us, we have top set, and we block the nut flush draw, so we bet the full pot of $75. They all lay it down, and we just show the naked ace of spades.
Spades are good. What about the second spade?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was the most important spade.
That was the only spade I needed. The $10 straddle is on again. We're under the gun +1, and we look down at ace-queen, 10-9 with 3 hearts to our ace. 4 players behind us call, and then the straddler makes it $80. We call, as does one of the blinds, so we wind up going 3 ways to a flop with position on both opponents. The flop comes down king, jack 7 with 2 spades. The original raiser now bets the pot of $280. Action is on us, and we have no pair, no flush draw, front or back door. We do have a blocker to the spades, and we do have a pretty big wrap straight draw on this flop. We can hit an 8, 9, 10, queen, or ace to make our straight. Although the spades may be bad for us, we just don't know. Our opponent could be betting top set, top 2 pair, a combo draw. There's a variety of hands they could have raised with that connect with this flop. We decide to just call and evaluate on the turn. It's possible a spade may freeze them up if they've got a set, allowing us to draw for free going to the river to make our straight. The other player thinks for a bit and folds, and we're going heads up to a turn. Here you go, homie. The beautiful ace of clubs falls, giving us Broadway the absolute nuts. He shoves all in, we get our remaining 430 in the middle, and he agrees to run it twice. The first river falls the 10 of hearts, the second river is less inviting, coming the queen of spades. We have Broadway on both boards and turn our hand over. He winds up showing down ace, jack, jack 3, having flopped middle set and backdoor diamonds, and our hand is going to hold up to scoop the whole thing.
Broadway. Broadway, Broadway.
I got over it.
That's why I'm back. They said talking doesn't look so good.
You heard. Man, he'll give it up.
All right, muck it before he finds something.
And then the reason it's not me, it's candy.
You want some?
No, thanks.
I know you like candy. I know you like chocolate.
I'm already too sweet, honey.
Why'd you put this back? Why'd you...
It's 4:30. I just counted 4:30. I didn't put it.
Oh, you can. Okay. So he shows 430. He shows ace of diamonds, jack of clubs, 3 of spades. Whew. No, I had a huge rack. Thank you, sir.
We're under the gun holding ace 9, 7, 6, suited in clubs to our ace. We limp in. There's 3 callers, and now the small blind makes it 20. The big blind calls, and the 3 limpers call, and we're going 6 ways to a flop. I work in mysterious ways, bitches! The flop, as Andrew Nemi likes to say, comes extremely favorable. 9-8-5 rainbow. The original raiser bets out the full pot of 120, and unfortunately for him, not only does his bet make 0 sense for someone who raised pre-flop from out of position multi-way, but I have absolutely smashed this flop. We repot to 480. It folds back to the original bettor who shoves all in for 420.
All right. Twice as nice as usual, sir.
It's too small. Okay.
Too small? You only want to go once?
I don't have anything I want to go. I just do one.
You're only going once? Okay.
No, get out of here, Inez. Bad dealer. The turn is the 6 of hearts, the river the 3 of hearts, and it turns out he raised with a pretty raggedy hand out of position, showing down jack 10, 7, deuce rainbow. What a genius. However, despite our having flopped the nuts, our opponent actually had 55% equity to our 44%, with us tying 1% of the time on this flop. So even though I had the nuts, his draw was strong enough that he was the actual equity favorite in this spot. He could hit a 6, 7, 10, jack, or queen to beat us, and unfortunately he did, and he finds the full double up. We're in the small blind and dealt queen 8, 7, 6 double suited in hearts and clubs. There's a bunch of limpers, we call, and we wind up going 7 ways to a flop. The flop falls 8, 7, 2 with 2 hearts. We flop top 2 pair and the queen high flush draw, and we lead out for the full pot of 35. 2 players call, and then another player pots it to 210. This player has been hyper aggressive all game. I think for a while. This is a spot where if I continue, I really want to isolate the aggressive player and get a heads up. If I allow the players behind me to come along, I risk having all of my draws be no good, where I can make the flush and still lose, for instance. So I repot to isolate, making it 735. That clears out the crumb bums, but now the original bettor just cold calls my raise. The turn is good and bad, falling the ace of hearts. It means our opponent didn't have the ace-high flush draw he was trying to hit, so now we have the second nuts, but he could certainly still have the king-high flush. Even so, a board pair could give us the winner if we happen to be behind, and we just don't have enough chips left compared with the size of the pot to ever fold anyway. We shove, he calls off his last 50, and we agree to go twice. The first river is the 4 of spades, the second river is the king of clubs, and our opponent winds up mucking and we take it down. So despite losing that hand where we flopped the nut straight and we lost to the guy who was raising Jack 10, 7 deuce, we did manage to book a solid win this session of $942, so it feels good that we are starting to trend in the upwards direction this time. On my last vlog, viewer Lind Ardrell mentioned that they're a poker dealer in Australia who plays Hold'em, and they're looking to get into Pot Limit Omaha, and that's really cool. I'm wishing you the best. It's really neat to me that people in Australia are watching my vlog. I've never been there. It is on my list. I do want to check that out one of these days. Let me know if you're from Australia. What's the PLO action like? Where do you play? And how do you find the action out there? Leave a comment down below. John Robinson asked if I would make a road trip out to Vegas and film some PLO action out that way. I am considering attending the World Series of Poker this year. I got to look. I think they just released their schedule, so I need to look at the events and see if there's anything I want to fire. Maybe a PLO event. Sometimes I like some of the deeper stacked freeze out Hold'em events. So I got to take a look at those, see what the options are, and figure out a schedule. And obviously, I'd probably play some cash as well while I'm out there. Also have a really cool announcement. At the end of December, I'm going to be playing at Texas Card House in Austin on their TCH Live. It's a quote-unquote live streamed game. They are filming it. They are not doing a stream that week, so it actually won't air until, I think, January 2nd or the 5th. So it's going to be my first filmed event, so I'm pretty excited to be on there. It's going to be a 1-2-5 PLO, just like we play at the Lodge, with buy-ins up to $1,000 and an option to match the largest stack. So I'm excited for that, and I'll have more information as soon as it happens, once I know when it's going to be airing. All right, that's going to be a wrap for this one. We'll see you in the next episode.
You know, after watching a video like this, sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I'll leave a comment, and sometimes I'll subscribe. Sometimes I'll even do all three.